On this week's Currently Trending, wedding trends in the Middle East, the royal wedding and dress controversy. Welcome to Harper's Bazaar Arabia's Currently Trending podcast. I'm Sarah Garden, the digital editor here at Harper's. I'm joined by wedding planner Zainab Alsalih, who is the founder of Carousel, and our resident style blogger Milli Midwood. Welcome, ladies.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So the royal wedding was watched by 2 billion viewers around the world, which is very exciting. And a lot of people were watching in anticipation to see what Meghan's dress would look like. It's important to say over the last couple of days, there's been a bit of controversy. Amelia Wicksteed, I should say, made comments about the dress being similar to one that she has in her collection. What do we think about that?
I do think the dress was very similar, but I also think that it wasn't a particularly very daring dress. There wasn't really one defining feature that really sets it apart from the other simple, plain white boat neck dresses that we've already seen.
Yes, I completely agree. I don't think the dress was very unique to her designs. It's a very popular silhouette for brides, and it has been for years. We just find the timing of her post a little bit interesting, given that Meghan Markle just wore that particular silhouette, and she then released a post with one of her designs.
She went and posted on the Instagram page a picture of the Amelia Wicksteed dress that is the identical dress in question, just to kind of, she did it I think 2 days after the royal wedding,
like a reminder, we've designed this particular style before.
So Amelia hasn't said whether she did or didn't make the comments that she's claimed to have made, but she did release a statement via her Instagram account. And she didn't say sorry, she didn't say whether it was true, but she just said that she has the utmost respect for the Duchess of Sussex, also Givenchy and Claire Wright-Keller. So do we think that this is sincere, or could this just be her responding to the backlash?
Well, I think she got a lot of backlash on social media for her comments, and I think she probably saw all that and realised the magnitude of her comments and realised actually how it probably could be quite detrimental to her brand. I mean, the royals, Meghan and Kate in particular, are fans of Amelia Wicksteed and wearers of the brand as well. So she probably took a step back and went, oh no, what have I done?
Yes, and I think, it's very difficult for people who are almost like public figures and in the limelight to come out and make some harsh criticisms of especially, the royal couple and a few days right after the wedding. I think a lot of people might find this a bit negative and uncalled for. It's never okay to criticize a bride and her choices, I think, especially if, you know that millions of people are going to be reading those comments and circulating them. So I think, yes, probably, she thought about it and felt that she needed to come out and make a formal, not an apology, but give an explanation, I guess.
And one of the comments that she allegedly made was that the dress didn't really fit properly, that it was loose. What are your thoughts?
I would agree with her on that point. I did find the dress ill-fitting, given the amount of probably, time it took to make that dress, and given who the designers were and who it was for, that dress should have fit her like a glove. It just didn't fit her right, and it almost felt like it was a dress that she picked off the rack and it was not adjusted to her. The waistline under her arms, it was creasing. I would tend to agree with that comment.
I agree as well. I thought the dress was kind of sagging in a lot of the places, especially like you said, around the arms, and that was really noticeable. But I think a lot of people haven't wanted to come out and say anything because of the backlash. Like people like Katy Perry went on a talk show on the weekend and she said that she thought the dress was too big, and she got absolutely loads of backlash. She got trolled all over social media. So I think people don't really want to express too many negative opinions, like you said. Yeah. But there were elements that I liked of the dress. I loved that she went for something completely different to Kate Middleton. A lot of the royal weddings, we've seen lace around the arms, around the neck, the top half of the dress, and she kind of did a 180.
And her veil was spectacular. I think that veil was just stunning and made for some very beautiful photos, I think. So definitely, I think her overall look could have been slightly better, but we can't take away from, that beautiful veil. And
we have a stat here about the veil. It took 500 hours to make, which is incredible. Given the length of it, I can see why.
They had embroidered 53 different floral motifs into the veil to represent the 53 countries of the Commonwealth, which apparently, according to Kensington Palace's Twitter page, was completely Meghan's idea. She requested that.
That's amazing. So Zainab, how does this fit in with the style of gowns that are popular in the Middle East?
I think in the Middle East, we tend to see a lot more embellishment on wedding gowns. With Middle Eastern brides, they tend to like a lot more lace, a lot more of the ball gown, A-line silhouettes as well. Cathedral veils are quite big in this part of the world as well, so the longer the veil, the better. Middle Eastern brides also love long trains when it comes to their wedding gowns. So I think it was quite different for Middle Eastern brides to see a royal wedding with a princess coming in with a gown that was quite simple, I would say. But we do see a trend towards brides wanting to invest in more the fabric, I would say the designer versus just highly embellished gowns as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Meghan Markle's dress shapes Middle Eastern brides' preferences over the coming seasons.
Are you expecting it to have an influence on what?
Not drastic, no. I think they will still opt for a bit more embellishment when it comes to their gowns for sure. But let's wait and see what trends come out.
I was just going to say that not the dress, the Givenchy dress that we're talking about, but the second Stella McCartney number that she stepped out in. So there have been a 185% increase in online searches from the moment she stepped out till midnight on the 23rd of May. Searches like white high neck dress and white halter neck evening dress. So but there haven't been the same stats recorded about the boat neck dress.
The boat neck. I think those stats might not necessarily be from brides, but maybe from just we tend to have a lot of evening events that take place in this part of the world, and the Middle Eastern women, they're always very well dressed, very elegant, and I think that dress would appeal to any Middle Eastern woman, not necessarily a bride. So if they're attending weddings, that would be a beautiful dress for a guest to wear to one of the weddings. I mean, we've seen some stunning dresses from guests that attend our weddings, and I think that could also attribute to that.
See, I think that's one of the problems that I have with it. I absolutely love the dress and I think this look is stunning, but I think that she could wear it to a red carpet event, and she has walked the red carpet so many times. Previously, she was an actress, and I think that on your wedding day, it's kind of your opportunity to wear something that you're never going to wear again, that you're not able to wear on the red carpet, or that you're not going to see another wedding guest wearing. So from that point of view, I kind of felt like gorgeous evening dress, but maybe not quite wedding dress material.
I would have loved to see her in something similar to the Ralph and Russo gown that she wore for her official engagement pictures.
That was my favourite.
With the feathers, the sheer body, the embellishments, it was a really dramatic dress.
Absolutely. But I think, for some brides, they want to feel comfortable in the dresses that they wear. And I think she perhaps might have considered that she wanted to wear a dress that was something that she was going to be comfortable in and not necessarily, wow the world with. I think in her mind, she probably thinks she's got plenty of opportunity to wow the world with many more dresses to come. And I think everyone will be watching. But I think the main issue here is that people were expecting a lot more, especially given her engagement dress that you had just talked about. So people, I think, had built up in their minds what those dresses are going to look like, and whereas they're beautiful, I think it was just did not meet people's expectations.
Let's also talk about bridal trends, because there was a lot that brides could take inspiration from. Aside from the dress, I am quite newly engaged, so my secret Pinterest boards had a field day after the royal wedding. There were lots of greenery in the flowers, like lots of foliage. The flowers were very simple and white as well. Is that something that you're seeing more brides leaning towards?
Absolutely. I think garden themes will continue to be popular. And of course, now with the royal wedding, I think that's just cemented, the popularity of those themes as well. We get asked quite a lot to recreate garden themes for our brides in this part of the world. Given that, of course, most weddings take place in ballrooms, we don't have access to beautiful English gardens. We would have to recreate that look and feel for them. And definitely the use of foliage and greenery is very vital for that. So people are trying to stay clear from, these I would say more constructed centerpieces where they look a little bit like unnatural. They want something that's a bit more natural, something that is fresh and young and beautiful. And I think the royal wedding just was the flowers were just spectacular. So I'm definitely thinking we're going to see a lot more use of the greenery and foliage and wedding flowers going forward.
What other wedding trends have you seen in the Middle East in the last couple of years?
I think vintage style weddings continue to be very popular in the Middle East, as do classical and elegant weddings. I think, one thing to note that the royal wedding made very clear is personalization. I find that personalization is the ultimate luxury, and that's the way to go about planning your wedding and designing your wedding, is to always consider what you like, bringing in, different elements from your culture or your fiance's culture into your wedding and infusing them into the wedding. That's how you differentiate your wedding from everyone else's. And I think your guests will appreciate those little touches, because at the end of the day, they're coming to attend your wedding and they would like to see your personalities shine through.
And Megan had a really nice way of personalising the bridesmaid shoes as well, didn't she? You were chatting about that earlier, Millie.
So all of the bridesmaids who were the little page boys and Princess Charlotte,
adorable,
who nearly upstaged her.
Yes,
they were all wearing custom-made Aquazura shoes, and they all had their initials monogrammed into the shoes as well as the date of the wedding.
That's so cute. Are there any other ways that you could go about personalising your day?
Well, we saw that there was a lot of personalization when it came to the entertainment and the ceremony and the proceedings at the royal wedding. So that's definitely a way that you can personalize your wedding through the entertainment you select and through the format of the wedding as well. I think tradition is important and brides need to always keep that in mind. But I get a lot of brides that ask me, what is the right thing to do? So for our entrance, what do people usually do? I'm like, forget about what people usually do. This is your wedding. So, tradition dictates one thing. It doesn't mean that you cannot, stay clear from that and come up with your own traditions. I think, more and more brides are venturing into personalizing their weddings that way, while, still retaining some traditions that are important to their families as well.
Megan also personalized her own Aquazura shoes. She had the soles of the shoes painted blue as her something blue.
I always think that's a really nice way of personalising your day with the something. What is it? Something new, something old, something borrowed, something blue.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's so lovely. Also, there is a huge fascination with the British royal wedding in the Middle East. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that stems from how private the Middle Easterners are in general, especially when it comes to the royal weddings. The public is not really, exposed to any of the royal weddings. We don't really see anything from the royal weddings. They're very private affairs. So in that sense, they're craving to see what happens, at royal weddings. And, of course, when they see the royal wedding being so televised and public, and they can see the nitty-gritty details of that, there is that fluctuation with the what's going on behind closed doors, which they have no access to in this part of the world. So I think from that point of view, that's why you see a lot of people obsessed with the royal weddings abroad.
Talking of wedding trends as well, I think one of the things that surprised people all over the world was that Meghan didn't have any of her celeb friends as bridesmaids. So she had some of her celeb friends' children. Is that something that's common in the Middle East?
Well, we don't have the concept of bridesmaids and groomsmen in the Middle East. Typically a bride walks in either alone or with her husband or with her father, so we don't really have a bridal party as such. However, we do have flower girls and maybe page boys that walk in front or behind the bride, but I think that was something so adorable, and I think it was one of the highlights of the royal wedding. And it also gives your friends a chance to relax and enjoy the wedding rather than be burdened with, bridesmaids' duties, let's say, and, having to worry about that. So I think what she did was she actually allowed them to sit back and enjoy the day rather than have them worry about performing their bridal party duties.
And a lot of people were saying that it was also another way that Meghan has tried to break from tradition, and one of the ways that she tried to bring feminism to the wedding because, she walked down the aisle by herself.
And one of the things that had the internet talking the most was wedding guest style. Let's just take a moment to appreciate how fabulous the outfits were. Who was your favourite?
I think Carrie Mulligan was my favourite. I just love I love a floral dress. It was quite demure in that it was quite a conservative silhouette. It had a kind of bohemian touch to it as well, and I just loved that.
I just absolutely loved Lady Kitty Spencer's makeup. It was flawless.
She was flawless.
She was wearing a full face of Charlotte Tilbury, as was Amal Clooney.
Oh.
Yeah, Lady Kitty Spencer was my favorite. I think she was best dressed for me for sure. That emerald green dress was just stunning. And I think she absolutely looked like a Mayflower. She was stunning. Her hair, her makeup, she was so well put together. And, that was a dress that fit like a glove, I think. And, I think she wore the dress and the dress didn't wear her. And she really did look flawless. And the makeup was stunning. It was quite simple, but she was glowing.
I think she's definitely one to watch. Her dress was custom made by Dolce & Gabbana, who she also walked for earlier this year in February for their Secret Diamonds catwalk show. And she's also just landed a major fashion campaign with Bulgari. So I definitely think we'll be seeing a lot more of her.
And also, people loved Amal Clooney. Now, when we posted a picture of Amal Clooney's outfit, it just immediately got so many likes on Instagram. But I'm kind of split on the outfit. I liked it. I wasn't so sold on the colour.
I would agree with you. I wasn't sold on the color either. And I wasn't a fan of the hair either. I think the dress that she was wearing needed a more structured, maybe updo or, just something a little bit more put together. And I think the hair just killed her entire look for me.
So Amal's dress was the most searched dress on Google after the royal wedding out of every single guest there. People loved her. I am going to have to disagree with you both. I love the kind of mustard yellow color. I think it looks glorious on her, especially because it was such a sunny day. I think it probably would have looked a bit damp if it was raining. It just wouldn't have made sense. But it was a sunny dress on a sunny day. And I think she looked great. And yellow was a big trend for Spring Summer 18 as well. I think she nailed it.
I do like the yellow colour. I just think there was too much of it, like the fastinet as well.
But what else? What other colour would you pair your fascinator with the yellow dress?
Maybe white.
No.
Or black.
No, not a bumblebee.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, her shoes, they were the Gianvito Rossi shoes, and they had a little gold tip on the toe. Right. So maybe she could have done something with gold. But I think the yellow worked.
I also want to talk a bit about wedding dress etiquette, because it was interesting, Zainab, earlier you said that Meghan's second Stella McCartney dress could easily be a wedding guest dress instead. but it's white. And there was a few people there that were very close to white for me. And I think that's a bit of a no-no.
Well, I would tend to agree with you that, I'm a little bit old-fashioned when it comes to that. I just feel like, the white is reserved for the bride. But I've seen it quite a few times at our weddings that guests tend to wear off-white. Not white, but, like off-white dresses. And I think that's just still too close to the wedding dress. However, it doesn't seem to be as much of a taboo as it used to be. I think it's kind of, acceptable nowadays. No one looks at it and thinks, she's wearing white. I recently had a wedding where all the bride's sisters and mother were in white. So
I think if that's what you want,
yes,
and you've asked people to dress in white, then it looks lovely. And I think if you've done that, then you've also coordinated your dress with the others, so people know that there's going to be elements of the way the dress is put together that's very different.
Yeah.
But I just think these days, especially with modern brides, and like we've seen with Meghan, her dress was completely different to what any of us expected.
Exactly. Anyone could have been wearing a similar dress.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it's so risky.
Yes.
And for me, even though it's becoming more accepted, I just think it's still a bit risky. And just FYI to any of my friends that are listening to this, no one wear white to my wedding.
No, I completely agree with you. I completely agree.
Oprah turned up to the royal wedding, and she landed in London, and she got her dress out ready for the royal wedding, and everyone turned around and said, that dress is white. What are you doing? You can't wear that. So she had to get Stella McCartney's team to make her a brand new outfit. She wore that lavender suit, and they made the whole thing overnight in 24 hours in preparation for the royal wedding because her dress was too close to white.
That's incredible. And I think great, Stella McCartney got it right there.
Those are the kind of friends you need that will stay up all night making a new dress.
And can we just take a moment to appreciate David Beckham as well? Because, we've talked all about women, but he really was the standout guest.
Yeah, and Idris Elba as well.
And George Clooney.
The men's fashion was on point. Yeah. They all looked incredible.
In general, I think most of the guests looked amazing. There was, it was beautiful, and it was amazing watching all these people walk in, and all the dresses and the fashion and the hair and the makeup. So it was a feast for the eyes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Thank you for joining us, Zainab and Milli, and thank you to all of our listeners. This podcast coincides with the latest issue of Harper's Bazaar Arabia Bride hitting shelves, and this issue is featuring Maison Alexandrine, which is a Portuguese bridal couture designer that has recently launched in the Middle East. We're really keen to hear what you think of this topic. You can use the hashtag HBA currently trending. Make sure you follow at Harper's Bazaar Arabia on Instagram too. In the meantime, we would love it if you could rate us on Apple Podcasts, and don't forget to leave us a comment while you're there. See you next time.